All right, this is Dustin Sherman, and this is Revolution Rising. And our other co-hosts are Scott Seddon and Casey Pate. How you guys doing tonight?
Hi guys.
Howdy, howdy.
So tomorrow is the big day in this country. It's either going to be a really good day or a really bad day. Um, we got the election for all the local races, all the federal races. Everything is kind of hinging on what happens tomorrow. And we've already been told by Biden and his secretary of that we're going to have a few extra days because of counting, which we all know. Um, I don't know if everybody's had a chance to go out and vote yet or not, but I have cast my vote and it was read all the way down the ballot. So,
That's racist.
well, the good thing about it is I don't have all white people that I voted for, so we're good there.
Well, they good man. Mix it up.
But yeah, so this election, it could be the difference in whether or not we have control of the Senate and the House. And I'm hoping that we get control of both so we can impeach Biden. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let's move to Casey first. And let's talk a little bit about you're in Wyoming, so let's talk a little bit about yours and what you expect to see.
Well, we're in our state. We have Liz Cheney has been censored from the Republican Party, and we have a constitutionalist running, and also a couple Republicans, but Harriet Hageman, who is a lawyer and has worked in DC for water rights. She's in the lead by far. We do have a senator as well as a couple other people that really didn't show up
Right.
on the ballot. State-wise, a lot of new people who maybe this is their one of their first few elected positions. Our governor's race, we have a big write-in race for Brent Bien. That's going really strong. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in our state house. Just a lot of new people. And one thing is, if you want to be a freedom fighter, you better have thick skin and a strong stomach, because you will be challenged. You know, it's not an easy job.
Wyoming
Uh,
is pretty much is pretty much been a red state for as long as I can remember. I used to live right next to
well,
Wyoming, right?
people with R's behind their names, but actually, we've got some people that are on the Republican ticket that vote 0% conservative, 25, 35. So, and I believe you have to vote 80% of the conservative values and on that forum. So it'll be interesting to see what we have. We have a lot of crossover voting in rhinos.
Now, do you have the Constitutional Convention on your ballot this year?
Oh, I'm uncertain.
Okay. Okay, Scott, how about you, man? I know you got the rocket scientist Fetterman in your state, so
Fetterman. Yeah, so we got the rocket scientist in charge running, and he's going up against Oz.
well,
So,
Oz is a pretty smart guy. I'm surprised that this is even close.
well, the general public isn't very smart,
Amen to that.
unfortunately. So that's a problem we're facing as Americans. But Oz is running on the ticket, and he's pro 2A. He's he's pro life, anti abortion, um, limited government. So he's obviously the choice for me. And then we have for governor, we have Mastriano, who's a retired colonel in the United States Army, and he's going up against Shapiro. Shapiro, just a typical liberal, leftist, communist, socialist lackey looking to destroy this country
Right.
one bite at a time, as they all do across this country, because they all hate America. We know that.
Yep.
Uh, so we'll see. It's going to be very interesting. I'll be going in first thing in the morning to beat the lines and get my vote in, and you know, and come home and open a 6 pack of beer and
Watch the results.
Watch them tally.
watch the results.
As
Roll in for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah. Is anybody going into any election parties or anything tomorrow night? Anybody?
No.
I'm just gonna watch online with the Heritage.
We got Angela and I, my wife. We got invited to go to a watching party, which is, I think it's at the Marriott here in Anchorage, which is it's a pretty good building. We've had a few events there for supporting different candidates and things like that. So we have Americans for Prosperity here in town, and they have been supporting one or two candidates here in town, or a few candidates now. But I helped them do a bunch of door knocking, things like that for Nick Begich here in Anchorage. But we've got some really good chances to kind of change the landscape in Alaska. So we have Sarah Palin running. We have Nick Begich. Those are the two that are running for Don Young's seat, which he died earlier this year. We have a Democrat that took his seat to start with during a special election, but we're looking to replace them. And then we have a Kelly Shabaka, which is running against Lisa Murkowski, and we got to get Lisa out of there because she's a huge rhino. She never votes with the Republicans. She's voted against Trump more times than you can think. Then we have some really good local folks here that are running for state house and senate, and that's Jamie Allard, Kathy Hensley, and Julie Colomb. Who else do I got here? I got a couple of yard signs out front. There's so many people running that I know that I can't remember all their names. I'll say that. James Kaufman is running. And then we have some other elections that's going to be going on in April. And those are already kind of starting to get underway. So it should be pretty interesting. We usually all, up here in Alaska, we usually all get together and have like a watch party. When Trump ran, we had a huge watch party at one of the big restaurants here in town. Unfortunately, everyone thought that Trump was going to win because at the end of the party, he was ahead everywhere. And of course, we all know what happened the next day.
We went to sleep.
Yeah. And they did, and unfortunately they didn't. And then they had a bunch of pipe bursts and all that good crap. So, yeah, we got a pretty good shot at with some of our candidates to be able to switch Alaska. Right now, we're still considered a red state, but the main cities, which is Juneau and Anchorage and a couple other places, are blue. Luckily we're a blue city, but we have a red mayor. I say that we're a blue city because we have an assembly that's 12 members, and 9 out of the 12 are super leftists. So we're trying to defeat them, and it's just I tell you right now, I left here 10 years ago or 12 years ago, and I came back, and I don't recognize the place. It's been so changed with homelessness. We've become a plywood city. You go downtown, and a lot of the buildings are plywooded up. COVID didn't help with that, but it was starting to get that way beforehand. So we do have a mayor that's spending money on the place and Anchorage and trying to get jobs back up here. But we've had a decline in population in the last 7 years.
So I was reading some statistics about Alaska, and your state is primarily the concentrated area of Anchorage is one of the most violent towns in America.
Well, we are known for having the most sexual assaults per capita of any other state in the country. A lot of that happens. So people don't realize what it's like up here in the wintertime. In the wintertime, it's dark. There's nothing for people to do other than drink, do drugs, and start trouble. And if you're trying to do your job and everything else, you're like, I go to work every morning and I'm always having to kick bums off of our sidewalks, wake them up. And you wouldn't think that you'd have that in Alaska, but we have it. And a couple years ago, we had a guy that believe it or not, we have baseball fields here, but we had a guy that went to sleep in a dugout on a baseball field, and they didn't find him till spring. The guy had frozen stiff.
Well, alcoholics, their blood gets thin and then they'll lay down, to go to sleep and they'll freeze.
Yep, and that's exactly what happens up here. I'd say we probably lose 30 to 40 people a year just from exposure. And that's a soft estimate. There might be more than that, but Alaska is not a forgiving state. And Scott, you've lived in New York City. You know what the winters can be like. It's that way plus another month. That's basically what we have here in Alaska. So, um, you know, I, we got to get people out to vote. We got to get people woke up. Luckily, we may have a thing in our favor with this election, with Twitter being bought out by um, Elon Musk when it was, because they've been censoring a lot of people, and those censors are pretty much all gone. People are getting their followers back. You're not seeing people getting kicked off for saying something that they think or believe. The only ones that are leaving are the celebrities.
Although the redhead that just held up a head of Elon Musk, the same Kathy Griffin.
Yep.
She just got kicked off
for impersonating
Elon Musk.
For impersonating a comedian is what Elon said.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. So are the tables going to turn, or is this just another? Hold on. Oh, sorry, guys. My dog.
No worries. Don't be surprised if my cat tries to upstage us here in a little bit. When I'm downstairs for a long period of time, he'll get on my desk.
Sorry, guys.
No worries.
So, so anyway, the one thing I think about that kind of concerns me a little bit, you have all these people that come in and act like they're on these white horses and here to save us and whatnot. Now, is Elon Musk there to help us or to be part of the strategy to divide us even further? Because I've gone on Twitter and I have seen left and right, they are at each other's throats because nobody's censoring what they say, which is good. It's freedom of speech. But this country is so divided right now. Is this just like throwing gasoline on the fire? And that's something I was thinking about.
Well,
Elon Musk, his main driving purpose is he wants the first colonization on Mars. So whatever it takes. Now they have that. He's got that chip he's pushing for to insert in your brain, and there'll be no more verbal communication. You can communicate with AI like that. Just crazy stuff. Like I'm not volunteering.
I think
Right.
Elon has gotten the reputation over the last couple of years as just like the world's biggest troll, and I think he's always been pretty frugal with his money. He's got. I mean, being the richest guy in the world, you don't get there by
Dude,
by
he
wasting
sleeps
your
on
money.
his friends. He goes to sleep on his friends' couches.
Or sleeps in the companies.
Right.
I've heard that too. But
Or he has a little modular outside of SpaceX.
yeah, I mean,
Right.
the guy's not stupid, and he's they said a while back that he is slightly autistic or whatever, Asperger's. Well, I've known some people that have that, and they completely think differently than everyone else. And he's from South Africa, and if there's a couple of musicians that are also from South Africa that are extremely talented. One of them is Dave Matthews, and the guy, they just think differently than a lot of other people, and I think he's got Asperger's too. Just kind of watching him, but I think Elon did it because Elon knows that if the right person runs that, it can make bank. I mean,
Oh yeah.
his biggest thing right now is his pocketbook, and he knows
Yep.
he knows right now that the people that are leaving Twitter, that'll hurt him. But I think what's going to end up happening is once they, I mean, think about this $8. You've seen the $8 thing, right? Where if you want a blue check mark, you're gonna have to pay Elon $8. The thing is, with everybody leaving, his advertisers are leaving, stuff like that. If everybody that wants to be famous or anyone that wants to be have their posts and stuff seen a lot, if they pay $8, which is me, you, it could be any of us, pay $8, we'll have a blue check mark. That means that we're someone influential, right? So, how many people you think are going to pay $8? There's going to be a lot, especially if he opens it up to everybody. It used to be you could only get the blue check mark if you were someone famous and people knew who you were and yada yada yada, and that was free. It didn't cost nothing. So now you start charging for that, and you're going to have all the news anchors are going to have to do it if they're going to get recognized. All the celebrities, if they're going to remain on there, they're going to have to do it. So I mean, $8 don't seem like a lot, but you start adding up the amount of people that's going to pay that, and he's going to end up getting his money back in a couple of years.
Well, unless you get all the libtards going on to Truth Social.
Well, they've already got one platform that they're already kind of migrating to,
Of course they are.
and there might be more than
Probably
one.
owned by Zuckerberg.
He's losing his ass right now,
Yeah.
and a lot of for the same reason that Elon was able to buy Twitter is that whole beta crap that Zuckerberg decided to do. That is costing him dearly. I think one
Uh,
day I seen like $365 million or
I
something
still
down the
don't. I
drain.
still don't even know what that is.
well, also, there was a article came out. Zuckerberg has been during elections. We all know that censoring people, that and working with the CIA and the FBI, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. As a matter of fact, the White House had a channel that they'd go into and say, please censor, for example, COVID. They'd say, can you please censor COVID posts? And that's what Facebook and YouTube and all the other conglomerates of libtard social media platforms, whatever the case may be, started doing.
You're
right.
so PC,
I'm
Scott.
learning. I'm learning.
Hey. So
It's growth, sometimes, even at this age, you can grow, you can mature. It's
Yeah.
happening. Maybe a little late.
Well,
yeah.
and I tell you right now, I've got 3 accounts on Twitter. I'm not going to tell you. I got my regular personal account, and I've got 2 other ones. And one of them, I say things the way I want to say it. I want them knowing who's saying it. And then the other 2 are just troll accounts. And I have a lot of fun with all of them. And the one thing that I do know is with Twitter being bought by Elon, is it's giving a lot of people a lot more courage to come on and say what they feel, because now they don't
Yeah.
have to watch their P's and Q's. And
Well,
some of it's good, some of it's not so good.
right. That's a problem with society, period, is we've been pushed back, where people are scared to speak up and stand up for what they believe in. And these last 2 years are a fine example. Everybody's been economically hurt, our lives disrupted, etc. Now our economy is going to collapse, and all that great stuff. And people are still scared to speak out.
Well, and that's the one thing that we were lucky when we had Trump in there, because he was like the biggest troll on the planet. But we also didn't have any wars. We didn't have any economic downturn when he was in there. Now we have the liar in chief with Biden. I don't even think Biden knows what the hell he's saying half the time. He's like Fetterman, just older.
I think he's got an earpiece, and then we've seen the example of him having the cue cards. He was fumbling with them and turned them around.
Well, he
but I
doesn't
think
even
he's got an earpiece.
he doesn't even know where he's at half the time.
Well, I think of that. I think he's had like 5 booster shots. He's triple vax, 5 boosters. That's why everything is going on him.
Well, let me ask you guys this: have you guys heard anything recently? And you probably haven't because of the elections and stuff. But has either one of your states been pushing the whole COVID's coming back thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not for
Not
you,
yet.
Casey.
No, not
Every,
yet.
every, like every radio station here, they're pushing the booster shot. You got to get your booster. Think of the booster. Think of your cell phone as COVID, and or the vax as your cell phone, and eventually your cell phone needs to be recharged. That's what the booster is, and that's how they're selling this.
Right.
And
Now we do have a push for that boosters, and there was a program set up in the early days of COVID that pushed for the boosters and the uh, vaccination period.
I still have a lot of fun making fun of people that are wearing their masks in stores. And every time I got to ask them, or not even ask them, I say, hey, man, you know what? You should just get vaccinated. And every single time, without fail, they tell me, oh, I am vaccinated. I'm like, well, then why the fuck you wearing a mask?
So they're finding when people die and they do the autopsies, and this is something new in the past 2 years, that they're having uh, thrombolisms, which is it's a blood clot, and they're very long, like in the legs and stuff. That's something new, and they're thinking that it's from the vaccination, the
Well,
protein.
Casey, before you came on, I was telling Scott we had a girl that used to work for us. She's like in her mid-30s. I found out this morning she died in the hospital, and she had just moved up here. Like, actually, we hired her exactly. It's either today or tomorrow was exactly 1 year that we hired her, and she worked for us for about 6, 7 months, and she started getting some medical issues and stuff, and like her blood numbers weren't coming back right, and they thought she had a gallbladder problem and everything else. So she took
was she
time. Go ahead.
was she sickly to begin with?
No, she was. When I hired her, she was healthy.
Yeah.
But she came up from Portland, and she had just been vaccinated down there. And her and her husband and 2 kids came up, and they both worked for us. She worked for me, and the husband worked for our pot shop. And well, she took time off because she wasn't feeling well, and that was completely fine. She had her job if she wanted it when she came back, or whatever. So I checked on her a couple times, and September the 9th is the last time I sent her a text. Never heard anything back from her. Well, I found out this morning that she had been in the hospital and she passed away. And someone that's in their mid-30s, I mean, that's unheard of. And she died of massive organ failure. I mean, kidneys, liver, you name it. There's something wrong, and that stuff doesn't happen biologically in nature, really. Not without a little bit of help from pharmaceuticals here or there. And she was,
Yep.
she was relatively healthy. She's a smart girl. And what sucks is, now her husband's widowed and they've got 2 kids and he's got to take care of them. And it's, and I've got other people I work with that are vaccinated. And I'm just like, I think if you think about this, when you're young and you're healthy and you're moving around a lot and your heartbeat's beating a little faster, I think that's what's killing people. I think if you look, there's a lot of people that are older that are not having the same issues, right? But you're young and you're healthy and you're pumping that crap around your body so much faster. And I've got at least 4 people I know that are in their 50s that have been vaccinated, and they seem to be fine. They haven't had any issues. And I have one lady that works with us, actually the owner's mom. She's in her 80s and she's been vaccinated multiple times, and she seems to be fine. But it sucks to see someone young and healthy, and someone that just up and die. I mean, there's no explanation for it, other than what we put in our bodies.
Right.
So yeah, it sucks. We're not really seeing a big push. Our native corporation pushes a little bit for the vaccine, but nothing major. We're not having a huge uptick in COVID cases, nothing like that either. If they are, they're not saying anything about it.
You know, it's interesting though, and this is how it started off the first go around. China right now is locking down entire cities.
Yep.
They're actually quarantining, like they have quarantine camps where people are. I saw the craziest video. There was this guy that escaped his cell and he was running, and this guy had a 6 foot long stick that he was poking him with and beating him so he didn't violate that 6 foot fucking distance, right? And he's prodding him back into his jail cell, but that's how it started before. I remember looking at these videos and be like, oh my God, it's so scary. The world's ending right now,
Well,
you know?
could you imagine living in Australia whenever all that crap was going down in Australia? Australia was a mess. I mean,
Yeah,
they were locking people down for weeks at a time
yeah.
and not allowing to leave their homes. If they did leave their homes, it was only to go to the store, and they had to go to a store that was within like I don't know, like 3K of their house or something. I mean, it was
Well, bro, they did that in New York City. My
yeah,
kid wasn't able to leave our house for 2 years unless it was just to go meet me at the airport. I was, I mean, that's not true. I take it back. She was able to leave, but she wasn't able to go into certain restaurants. There was
right.
restaurants. The only way you got in there is if you had proof that you were vaccinated. You know, poor kids. What it did to these children. It's disgusting.
Yeah. Well, and now they're finding that a lot of the kids and stuff that miss school, they're like 2 and 3 years behind now.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, Anchorage's school system's screwed anyway. Back in the '80s, we used to have the number one school system in the country, and now we're at 48th.
Well, we were talking about the educational system in your state last time, and the one thing I forgot to bring up, the teachers unions and all the money they had spent. What'd you say it was 150 million dollars? I think you said, or a deficit, right?
No, we're $63 million in the hole.
$63 million. But you know why that is? Teachers unions. And
Yep.
it's the same for any union. Once you implement a union in anything, somebody is getting paid off. That's what a union is for. It's all about payoffs. So you land the job. Some politician is getting paid off, so you're getting a fucking job. That's what it is. That's why unions are so beneficial. But
Well, I know
that's
So,
we've had the biggest uptick, I think, per capita in homeschooling of anywhere else in the country right now. We've had we have roughly a population of about 20,000 kids, I think, is what it is, that are in schools, maybe a little bit more than that. But we've had 6 to 8,000 kids pulled out of the number's not accurate, but it's like 6 to 8,000 kids pulled out of public school to be homeschooled across this city. It's just Anchorage.
crazy,
And
crazy.
that doesn't include Juneau. It doesn't include Wasilla and all these other places. But basically, what it was when COVID shut the schools down. A lot of the parents were concerned that their kids weren't going to keep up, so they started homeschooling them at that point. And so those kids are ahead. Meanwhile, the public school kids are a year or two behind. And the kids are the only ones that are suffering from this. And they're doing something right now where they're looking at shutting down. I think right now the number is 6 schools, but they're looking at a bunch more, and they're trying to make up for that budget. And they're wanting to pull all the sports out of the system, football, hockey, all the crap that the kids actually enjoy doing, and half of them only do their schoolwork because of those sports.
Right?
I mean, think about the think
that's
of,
a big incentive for the
it's
kids.
huge. I mean, I think if it's like it was when I was in school, you could fail one class and still be able to play. Now I think if you fail two, you're done. But we have high school bowling, which doesn't cost our schools anything. It doesn't cost them nothing. The parents cover all of it. It costs them like $135 for the kids to bowl. They bowl all season long. They get their uniforms. They get all this other stuff. And we 2 years ago, I had to go in front of the school board and chew their ass because they weren't going to let our kids go to nationals. And I ended up pushing hard enough to where they allowed it. and one of our kids took fourth in the nation.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, it was a sophomore girl. I mean, she friggin' rocked it down there.
Are
So
you the coach for the bowling team?
to be honest with you, I'm not. I coach everybody, but I don't charge or nothing. I coach everybody that needs help.
Yeah.
But I am about to be the new commissioner for high school bowling.
Good for
Um,
you.
somebody that was running it has been in it for 10 years. He didn't want to do it next year. So they came, and since I manage a center and I know the game real well, they came and they were begging me, "Hey, can you can you take this over?" And I'm like I need anything else, but yeah, I do it for the kids. And and even for my business, I mean, for me to continue to have a job, I need to make sure that the sport's healthy. And unfortunately, our school system don't see the same thing. But I can't even advertise it, or at least I can't advertise certain things through the school system because we're a for-profit business.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I have to keep it separate. But it is what it is. I mean, we've got a school system that is breaking down faster than they can rebuild it, and anytime the federal government's involved, I remember when I was in school, in elementary school, middle school, high school, we didn't have the feds involved, and now we have. And I graduated in '94, so now that we have um, the feds involved in trying to
Yeah.
dictate what
Teachers
schools can
union.
teach,
Yeah.
it's ruined our school system entirely. It's put us
Yeah,
back.
man. And that's why you have implementation of these books that have, oral sex taking place in fucking elementary school, and
Yeah, it's
this
disgusting.
gut it's disgusting. It's evil. And another reason why they want sports taken out of schools because sports are one of the only positive things that a lot of these kids have in these
Yep.
schools that keep them disciplined. It teaches them discipline. They want a bunch of fucking pothead kids running around that are addicted to their phones, not listening to their parents, not respecting authority. So they're going to destroy everything that teaches discipline.
Well,
You know,
that's the one thing that kills me is the fact that um, they're trying to eliminate. So every school system that's out there's got programs for gifted kids, right? Kids that are above average on the intellectual level, and they're trying to eliminate all of that here. And it's like they don't want the kids to think for themselves. We're going to put something in front of you, and that's what you learn. You don't want you can't learn nothing else.
crazy.
Um, you know, the funny thing is about those books and crap that are in the libraries. If a parent goes to the school board and they read that crap aloud to the school board, they get shut down,
Mhm.
right? Why is that?
Because it's
Because
inappropriate.
exactly. And the thing is,
Right. Yeah.
b-
Bingo.
before all this crap happened with the same sex stuff and everything else. Now, keep in mind, I have friends that are gay, and I have friends that are married to the same sex, and whoever you love is whoever you love. I don't really care.
Right.
But here's the deal: before that all happened, the crap that they're putting in schools was considered pornography, and you're not allowed to see pornography till you're 18 years old. Why do you think that they're passing all these laws and crap now? Is so that the people that are putting this crap out don't get arrested. And they're doing it so early now. It's pretty damn sick. Yeah, the
So
worst
what are
that was out there when I was a kid was like an R-rated movie, right? And you
Right.
barely
like
you barely seen
Revenge of
anything.
the Nerds or something,
Exactly, Porky's.
Right.
Right. The booby scene in the shower. We got the quick view. Or watching cable back in the day when it was all scrambled, trying to get a nipple view. That was as crazy as it got back in our day.
So what are we gonna do with this broken children and broken society? I mean, there's a division here, um, but ultimately, citizens are being wore down economically with inflation, with the past 2 years, and psychologically as well.
Well, I think it's going to end up. Everything is always going to fall back to the parents, and until we find a structure that's going to, or until we start respecting marriage and family and things like that again, we're always going to struggle.
Right.
Back whenever I was in school, we had nothing but, we always had a nuclear family. I was raised by my
Mm-hmm.
grandparents, but I had a father, I had a mother. Um, I didn't have to worry about all kinds of stuff. One guy, my dad or grandfather, he worked. My grandmother worked inside the house, but she did licensed daycare, and between the two of them, I mean, I had a pretty good childhood. I mean, we weren't rich, but anything I wanted, we went fishing and we went hunting and we did everything that I could possibly ever dream of doing when I was a kid. And until we get that kind of thing back, until we get
Mm-hmm.
the apple pie, American
Right.
flag on the barns, that kind of stuff, and we get some American pride back in the country, we're never going to get it back. If we get that back, we get a president in there that's a statesman like Reagan was, or JFK, someone that's proud of the country again, and can somehow convince the rest of the country that's not proud of this country that, listen, we're not so bad. Um, personally, the only way that we're going to get that fixed is if you send half the country over to another country that is struggling, like Venezuela. Let them live that kind of life for 6 months to a year and see what they think about America.
Oh no, they're coming over here
I know. Well,
in waves.
that's the thing is, if we're so bad, why does every other country ship their people here?
Right.
Yeah.
Certainly not the America that we grew up in. I have a good friend, very traditional male that believes, you know, there's male roles and female roles, and I agree. However, starting with my generation, no, probably my mom's generation, there was the women's lib thing, and how that's not actually been very good for women, you know.
Right. Well, that's the one thing too is the left has started so much crap. Nobody can keep up with it all. And you
Yep.
get
Floodgates.
oh yeah, I mean, it's like coming up with new definitions for words and
Mm-hmm.
there's so many things that it's like the internet and your phone, right? I mean, our minds were not meant to know and have this kind of technology in front of us. We weren't ready for it yet, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
And we have this computer in our pockets, which if you're anywhere from second grade on, you're better at it than your parents. I mean, I don't know any kid that wasn't better at something than their folks were when it comes to technology. Growing up, I mean, I was tearing record players apart when I was like 5 years old, right? And fixing stuff my parents couldn't fix. And, you know, there's going to be a time when all of us can't do the same stuff we're doing now because we just age out of it. I mean, we can't keep up. And now I know that I have friends that have 2, 3-year-olds that are surfing on the phone faster than I can. And I'm on my phone like 18 hours a day, I swear. And, looking up different information, everything else. And, we wonder, I don't know how well you guys sleep, but I don't sleep as well as I used to. And it's because all the crap that's mulling around in my head all day. And
Well,
this is the cell phone is the culprit.
Well,
right.
dude, that's. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Go
Case.
ahead. No. What? Rock, paper, scissors.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Casey.
Okay, so it's been proven that our brains are actually being rewired, and that our circadian rhythms have changed. And that's, when you keep your days and nights straight. And like you said, Dustin, uh, all this information and the light stimulation as well. I do have a concern about the radiation and the electrical charge coming from these.
Yeah, no, they tell you not to sleep, sleep with them next to your bed. And there's been certain phones that have caught on fire and,
Yep.
I mean, there's all kinds of things that the human body was never meant to deal with. And some of it's Wi-Fi, some of it's the cell signals and stuff that we have. I guarantee you that if we were to ever eliminate that, or we were to have like some kind of major blackout or where we didn't have electricity, we'd probably all start feeling better.
Well, we sure as fuck be able to socialize better.
Yeah.
Because I know my socialization skills suck nowadays. Because what do? I do? I work. I come home. I'm on my phone. Even watching TV nowadays. What am I doing? I'll watch a movie with my kid, and I have my phone in my hand every 15 minutes, and my daughter's yelling at me, "Dad, put that down. It's movie time." You know.
Well, that's not a
So
bad thing.
Somebody's got to keep you in line.
somebody's well, this is true. But the one thing I got to tell you, as far as sleep issues, for me, it really saved my ass because I have one of those minds that is always going, nonstop racing, and I can't get it to quiet down.
Hmm.
So, and I train very hard. I go to the gym religiously and I beat the shit out of my body. Not literally. I do it in a way that's
Excuse.
smart for somebody my age. I'm 52, so I'm not throwing around and doing crazy shit that I used to do back in the day and not doing mixed martial arts, none of that stuff. I'm doing what I can do, but I'm making sure when I leave the gym tired. I tell you what, when I get home and I hit that fucking bed, I go to sleep. So that's something to anybody out there that's suffering from issues, go to the gym for an hour and just push yourself. Push yourself forward for 1 hour a day.
Well,
It's the best thing you can do for your mind too. Clears your head. You feel like you're on cloud nine. Gives you that endorphin high. It's a beautiful thing.
and that's one of the things that I've been trying to work on. So I had a bit of a stressful year, and I'd lost a bunch of weight, which is not a bad thing. It was a good thing.
Yeah,
But
good thing.
as soon as I got to the low point, which was like 218 pounds, I'm 6'2", so 218 pounds is about normal. And at one point I was like almost 260, and I'm back to that point again. And it seemed like no matter what kind of exercise I do, it doesn't really matter what I do. The stress is the only thing that took the weight off. I was eating, I was still doing everything the same,
Well,
but
you're eating right now? Are you eating worse than you were? Have you changed your eating
I
habits at
haven't changed
all?
it. Haven't changed a thing.
Nothing.
I know. I mean, I lost all that weight. I was still drinking soda. I was still eating the same crap that I was eating before. The only thing different was I was just stressed out, so my stomach was always churning,
Yeah,
and I couldn't sleep. So you run yourself ragged,
you do,
and
man. And the sleep is very important for
it
losing weight,
it
believe it or not.
is. And luckily, me and the wife went out and bought a new bed. Speaking of which, I'm going to give a plug for Costco, even though they're not paying me. The Costco bed in the box is one of the best investments I've ever bought.
For real.
Yep, it come out of a
How
box,
much?
$500,
Huh.
king size bed.
Damn.
We went and bought a frame and everything, and then we bought this thing. It took it about 2 nights to completely inflate itself, but it's firm. It's not super soft. There's still some give. It's like memory foam kind of, but it's dude. I tell you right now, man. I 30 minutes in bed, I'm asleep. And before
Huh.
it was like I was still awake at 4 o'clock in the morning half the time.
Hmm.
So, and that was
So
on a mattress they spent $1,200 on. So,
Yeah.
last year I suffered from, they call it adrenal depletion. Basically, I stressed out running, going to school, working multiple jobs. I drained my body far enough where I wasn't getting the right chemical signals to run.
right.
And it was 3 weeks in the bed before I felt strong enough to call the doctor and say something's really wrong.
Crazy.
So since then, yeah, it is crazy. So I'm not quite, full strength. I'm one of those people, I keep just digging deep, keep on going, with Swamp Around the Trench crew, but one thing I looked at was hormones, like because different hormones will make your body carry weight differently.
Right.
That was really important. And then just self care, I know this past summer, working multiple jobs again, going to school, running around the state trying to catch people campaigning, Trump rally, etc. There again, I was running myself down and getting pretty growly. So that's something to look at,
Well, one of the things that I started doing is I started kind of practicing the stuff for bowling and stuff again. So I chased the tour for a couple seasons down in California, and I know a lot of the guys you see on TV and crap like that now. And I did that for
Like Kingpin
kind of, yeah, a little bit.
with the hair.
I knew a few guys that were like that.
I know a kingpin at my gym.
Yeah.
I want to smack him across the head. He looks like such a douchebag.
But anyway, so I started going to work, and I've been practicing a little bit here or there. Basically, the only reason I quit back in 2013, I destroyed my hand, and I had to have surgery on it, and then subsequently 3 more surgeries on that. And I don't know what it is about me and surgery, but they never seem to work. I've had 4, 8. I've had 9 surgeries, and 1 actually did its job, and that was a gallbladder surgery. But my hand, I destroyed it from wrenching and everything else. I've got a scar. I don't know if you can see it or not. I have a scar on this thumb where they removed a bone out of the hand called the trapezium bone, and I basically shattered that bone just from arthritis. It just kept pounding it, and they had to remove it because it was starting to tear apart. Well, in the process of healing, the first surgery, I broke it in 3 weeks. I fell, and like an idiot, I'm out chasing a drone and tripped over a curb, and so I had to go fix it again. Well, 2 more surgeries later, and I had to wait for like 2 years before I could put my hand back in a ball. But I'm back to doing it again now. The only thing different is I'm like 40 pounds heavier, so my legs hate this. But it's something physical. And you wouldn't think that bowling is that physical of a game because you see the people that are heavy set and everything else that are doing it. But you take a 15-pound ball and you throw that thing 36 times, and you walk with it those 36 times, and you see how much, like the pros like Pete Weber, he's been bowling for 50 years. The guy's skinny, he's small, he's in good shape. Well, the mileage, not just on your hand and on the ball, but is on your feet, your legs, you have to be physically fit to do this. And I'm finding out now, I used to be able to bowl 10, 15 games a day. I'm lucky if I can do 3. And I'm building it back up, but I'm also building back up my shoulders, back up my chest, back my legs back up. And then I'm hitting a heavy bag at the house here a couple times a week. So I'm getting it back, and my heart rate's going up again. And anyone that wants to get their heart rate up, jump rope or jumping jacks is the number one easiest thing to do.
Burpees.
Well, I can't do burpees. I'm too fat.
So, yeah, I have sandbags and then a weighted vest with little sandbag inserts. And in the summer, put that weighted vest on, put some ankle weights on, and go ride around on my bike.
Yep. Well, anything physical that can get us out of the house and get us moving. Mm-hmm. Well, Scott, I know you were looking at doing like 45 minutes tonight. We're at 48. Do you guys want to call it a night, and we can get this show up and uploaded and everything, and we can go from there?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You're getting pretty late your time.
After the elections. Good luck.
Right?
Fuck yeah.
My phone's ringing. I'll have to call him back. But anyway, guys, this is Revolution Rising. Thanks for tuning in for those who did. And we did get one shout out from, real quick. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to look who it was. I did see, hold on, we had somebody that commented on the Facebook page. Give me 1 second here.
Oh, McCrae.
Yeah. Saying hi from Oklahoma. I wanted to give her a shout out. But do us a favor and share this around a little bit. We're going to be doing this at least once a week. We may be switching to Sunday evenings. We're going to discuss that and make sure that works out for everybody. That way we're not all racing home to get on here. So, but anyway, stay tuned in. We'll post updates and all that kind of stuff. And now the podcast is actually on Spotify. It's going to be on iHeartRadio and a bunch of other platforms, and we'll start sharing the links to those. So keep your eyes out. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter right now, and those other podcast websites will be up here in the next couple of days. Sometimes it takes a little bit to get them going, but we appreciate the viewership. And I'm Dustin Sherman. That's Scott Seddon and Casey Pate. You guys want to say anything else? Now's the time, or forever hold your peace.
Get your asses out and vote.
Yeah, hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah, let's get out and vote.
All
Yeah.
right.
God bless.
With that, we're signing off.